On this week's episode of the Beard Laws Podcast,
I want to touch on something.
Ooh, I hope it's me. Watching him, and one of these kids, I mean, I swear he's only 2, has a fucking potty mouth. He called me a bitch, and I was like, "You're not wrong, but damn." And it sucks being 6'2" because every time that someone does have something that like blocks a little bit of shade, I'm always hunched over like this, and they're like, "This is comfortable." I'm like, "Yeah, this is fucking great. I'm shaded, but now I'm gonna have like scoliosis. This is awesome." So.
I got to tell you, if a 2-year-old or 3-year-old or any other kid called me a bitch, I would definitely pull out my inner David Lee Roth, U.S. Festival or US Festival to 1983, when somebody threw water at him. He's like, hey, pal, I'm going to fuck your girlfriend. But your mom is what I would do, and definitely would be wrecking families at that point.
His mom is beastie in the politest way I can possibly say that. So
it's an easy shot then.
It is. It's just like, I'm like, do I want to fuck this Wookiee? I mean, she has a bigger mustache than I do. Science, bitch.
I said, oh my God. I go, man, we need to take you outside and hose you off. I wanted to say, why can I smell the inside of your asshole? Like, honestly, it's like it smelled like stale farts and nut cheese. And it's like, how do you go into public like that when it's 105 degrees, no less? By the way, you see how that vehicle's leaning a little bit, that suspension? That's how my mother-in-law sits in vehicles. It was like What's Eating Gilbert Grape. You remember when she gets in the car and she's like, the reporter who covered it for us did a great job, first of all. And he was interviewed by the BBC.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's?
Back at it, episode 206. Pretty sure. While we're just doing this, I'm gonna do the shout outs. So for whatever reason, if you don't love listening to our shout outs, maybe you're a little bit of a jerk because they're friends of us, so they should be friends of you. You can skip forward a couple of seconds, but that'd be pretty rude. Deluxe Edition Network, shout out to the podcast of the month. If you're watching it, you can see it scrolling right under Brandon J. McDermott. It is Metalhead, Journeys, and the MILF and Me. Check them out. Some good stuff. The MILF in the MILF and Me is taking a couple of weeks break. Has a new little project going on, but the Me in the MILF and Me is still going to be there with some guests and some other stuff as well. Big shout out to Beyond the Box podcast. We've talked about it a bunch. Beyond the Box opens a dialogue for conversations that needs to be had and brings awareness to the issues that need to be addressed. I feel like we should probably be a guest on that sometime, or at least potentially be there. And there's one more that I'm super excited about. It is Unreleased Grounds. All right, you can see it scrolling on the bottom now. Again, if you're watching, if you're just listening, check out their Instagram, Unreleased Grounds. And I know you've been not a big fan of coffee. Okay,
Not at all.
Brandon, you're not much of a coffee guy, right?
No, I mean, I'll drink it if it's there and somebody's like, hey, I got you a cup of coffee, but I'm not seeking out coffee.
See, I love a good cup of coffee, and I mean, I'm honestly even just sipping some coffee this morning. Spoiler alert, we're recording in the morning because we're crazy like that. But if you hate coffee, it might not be for you, but Unreleased Grounds is a brand that's shaking up both the fashion and coffee scenes. They're all about blending the two worlds, which is really, in my opinion, just something that's not really done. So you're going to get some coffee merch and some people that love coffee. Because let's be honest, anytime you drive by, I'm not going to give them shout outs, but those popular coffee shops, you know what I mean? That people, for whatever reason, will sit in a drive-through for like 90 minutes to get their pumpkin spice flavored whatever right now. They're going to mix some stuff up, and they believe coffee is more than a beverage. It's a medium used to connect people, have great conversations, and focus on the task at hand, which, hey, I believe it. I mean, obviously, beer is a good conversation piece, but people have good conversations in the morning with some coffee while their brain's thinking. They're pretty sober, except for that drunk uncle we probably all have. That there's probably booze in the coffee, but there's a twist with this whole thing because they don't even have coffee yet. They're brewing a vision to open a coffee shop in the future. They're going to serve you the same passion and creativity that you find in their merchandise. But the cool thing is their website is getting ready to launch, and they wanted to utilize our show as one of the first places to see, hey, keep an eye on the Instagram, check it out. And like I said, the website is coming very, very soon. They got some cool stuff. Just looking at their Instagram, where they have a shirt that says like, hey, let's coffee or something. On a hoodie. There's this one that's a green shirt that is It's just this really cool, I don't know, design that's just kind of like has a little bit of everything. Like what would it be? Like not a like a mural, just real cool. A lot of cool stuff. Check them out in the descriptions. We'll put the link and everything like that. Unreleased Grounds. So that's what I got. That was cool. That was fun. Appreciate them. And the Patreon, of course. We're up to 3 Patreon members. Jim, Queen Kush, and Logan. _P _____. Something like that. But either way, he's a good dude. He's going to be the Beard of the Week coming up here because he's got a good one. So if you guys want, patreon.com/beardlaws. If we get enough Patreon subscribers, then we might actually make some money on this podcast, which we're not here to do, but it wouldn't be a bad time. You know what I mean? That way we could take all the money and then start throwing it in on these bets for this NFL Sunday that just passed and make up for the losses or that we probably all had. I can't see the future, but based on my betting, probably going to lose a little bit of money.
You know, the games last week are done. It's Thursday. There's a game tonight, more games this weekend, but we're in the middle of football season.
It's so awesome.
So excited. I debated wearing my jersey, but I was like, no, I already wear my jersey on the other podcast. And, I'll stick to the Neapolitan Nightmare for this one. But I am borderline giddy at this point. I'm so ready to watch the Red Zone channel.
Plus tonight, at the time that you're watching this, it's Vikings and Eagles. Bearing that, at the time of this recording, there was no major injuries, which if there is major injuries with either of the team, none of us are going to cry about it. But on paper, should be a good game.
I want to touch on something.
Ooh, I hope it's me.
I once, and I don't necessarily feel this way, so please understand, Euban, it's not me attacking you by any means. But I had a friend who, old radio host, a little older than me, who doesn't think grown men, it's implied, should wear other men's jerseys. Well, obviously, I would say, how do you feel about this? I think I know the answer. I've got a few upstairs in my closet. That didn't sound like I got
men or jerseys?
Yeah.
Jerseys.
Okay.
But I can't wear them because I'm a little too large now. But how do you feel about that topic?
So I guess me living in an area where I'm not a fan of the team that's local, I guess, who the hell wants to wear a Cowboys jersey in Kansas City? So, but I don't know, like
wear a Cowboys jersey to begin with.
In general, it's a choking hazard, wear it just for brief periods of time. But like, I know if somebody does come over and they are a Cowboys fan, yeah, I'll throw them a jersey. I'm like, yeah, you want to wear a jersey? Go ahead. Now, if a Chiefs fan's like, let me wear this jersey, I'm like, fuck you. What are you going to do to it? I don't trust you. So I guess it kind of depends on who it is. If it's my friends, most likely not. Random stranger, I trust them more.
You've been Cowboys fan, huh?
Unfortunately, yeah.
As a Nebraska football fan, it's kind of the same pool. You cry a lot too, or
yeah. Except for Cowboys fans usually get their hopes up. Nebraska's usually done by week 3. They're like, we're not doing anything.
Much like this season.
Yeah, exactly.
2,400 and how many days, unfortunately, since the bowl game?
It's 2,445 now.
Yep. And if anybody wants to know how he was able to rip that number off, go watch last week's episode. We got into it. As far as a jersey, my opinion, if anybody actually wants to hear it, I think it's fine. I mean, obviously the NFL makes a ton of money. Rooting for your team, wearing another man's jersey, no problem. The one thing that I'd maybe question, and this was brought up on a podcast a long time ago that I listened, I almost think it was the middle of somewhere, that they kind of not freak out, but they had a big heated debate of wearing kids' jerseys, like college kids, and how it's so weird that, you know what I mean, they'll pack 80, 90,000 people into a stadium. And when a kid, because they are, I mean, yes, they're technically probably adults, but 17 to 20, they're still pretty much kids. When they're dropping a ball or they're making a bad play and you have all these people screaming at these younger kids and wearing jerseys of these kids, that's where and personally, I don't care, but that's where they kind of were like, NFL, I think it's fine. They're grown-ass men. They're making a ton of money. And this was, again, before college athletes can make money, even though really the only, I think, top tier make good money. But right. I think that was a little more weird for me, would be wearing, I guess, a younger kid's jersey. But in the NFL, there's probably some younger people too, because we're getting old.
I feel like that's one thing I hate too, is when I see these contracts like, oh, they're going to make 135 million over this many years. And I'm like, how old is this person? And they're like, oh, they're 23. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Nuh-uh. And then every single time that they're talking about, oh, this person's had a long career in the NFL or whatever sport they're in, they're 32. It's time for them to retire. And I'm like, what?
Or LeBron
Damn.
James. What is he, like 38 and he's going to retire? It's like, fuck, he's the same age as me and that motherfucker gets to retire and I probably won't even get to retire when I'm old.
And he looks 50 now.
He
Like, I
does.
don't know if it's just because it feels like he's been in the league forever, but you look at people like that and you're like, wait, he's not even 40 yet? What? Like, it feels like this guy's been playing forever.
Yep. And he tried to copyright Taco Tuesday. That was already copyright Taco Tuesday. That was too much for me. Come on, man. You have too much money when you're going after something like that. And I love a good Taco Tuesday. Fuck.
Likewise.
Yeah. Other than that, obviously, probably should have done this at the beginning, but you've been whacking off. It's the voice over here. And if you're watching to the left, underneath us, not physically, but on the screen, is Brandon J. McDermott. I feel like you guys know this by now, but either way, how rude of me not to introduce you guys. And you guys can check out them on the socials. You've been whacking off, still whacking off, whatever he goes, just spell it like what, the Russian kind of form? Whacking off, not how D Lemon would try to spell it with the literal whack and off. And obviously Brandon J. McDermott, follow him on the socials as well if you'd like. And he's got a book. Go buy it. I got it back there. Didn't read it. Love you. But either way, I had a moment where I was in public yesterday. I was rocking a Finlay hat. And this, we were in, what the hell was the name of this? Zapier or something like that. Kind of like a skater shop. I don't know if it's just a local place or if they have chains all over, but they have skater style shirts. You can go in, design your own skateboard, stuff like that. The oldest school started last week, and great parenting by me. Decided apparently we only got new pants, didn't get a lot of new shirts. So did the whole order cleats online, didn't fucking fit, which I don't know if you guys have ever been there, but
every time.
Man, that pissed me off. Maybe we'll cycle back to that, but that was a very story that I'm pissed about. But anyway, so we get into this place, and the skater dude, wearing the toque or beanie, whatever you might call it, nice blue hair, very, very nice, seemed to love his job. Every single person in that store loved their job. And I'm like, this is cool, good environment. And I don't know if he was just buttering me up or whatever, but he's like, oh man, sweet beard. And I'm like, oh, thank you. I appreciate it. You probably get sick of hearing that. I'm like, nope, sure don't. And he's like, love that hat. And I was wearing a Finlay hat that was like an orange corduroy hat with a pink lace. And he's like, that hat is sick. And he's like, is it weird? Can I touch it? I just want to know, like, I'm a hat guy. So I handed it to him, touch. He's like, oh, it's cool. So I was like, yeah, it's Finlay hats. They're out of, and then my brain was like, oh, fuck, what do I say? They're out of Oregon. Right? And he just was like, and he looked, he's like, oh yeah, Oregon? I'm like, yeah, Oregon. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm not going to get into this, but my brain, I'm like, and I'm going, you motherfuckers. The first thing I thought about was you two guys. I'm like, Oregon. And it felt weird for me to say. And he replied back with the North Country way that we say it, Oregon. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, I'm going to check them out. So in this situation, I could have been like, yeah, use code BeardLaws, man. You'll save like $5-10 off your fur. But I didn't want to, I kind of felt like a douche. So I was just like, yeah, awesome hats. Check them out. Like, would you guys have been like, use my code? Or would you guys have just been like, play it cool? It's different when you're online, I think, than in person,
If somebody is actively showing interest, yeah. I mean,
100%.
I wouldn't, I'm with you on the whole online thing. I wouldn't want to, hey, use my promo code. Bye. But if you're in person, somebody's like seeking you out, tell them, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you like, what I would do is just be like, hey man, normally it's this price. I do a little stuff online. They hook me up with this discount. Use it. This will save you a little bit of money, at least cover the shipping or something like that. Yeah. Just act like, hey, I'm not trying to be lame, but if you want to save some money, here you go.
And then we go to check out and they're like, would you be interested in signing up for the code or whatever with the phone number? And I'm like, do I save anything? They're like, no. I'm like, then why the hell would I sign up for it? And they're like, well, it'd really help us out. I'm like, how? And he started to explain. I'm like, whatever. He goes, 20 seconds. That's all it's going to take. So I go, you got 20 seconds. Go. And he was like, oh, name, number, email. And then I go, matt@beardlaws.com. And he's like, beard laws or bear laws? And this person, no judgment, obviously there's never judgment, was very flamboyant male, just personality wise or whatever. And he just kind of looked at me. I'm like, beard. And he's like, that is the coolest email that has ever came through. I'm like, okay, 7 seconds. He's like, what did it done? How long did it take? I was like, 38 seconds. He goes, oh. I go, why don't you change your whole spiel to it'll take 40 seconds? He's like, I got you. So I did a little HR training there for free. So
there you go.
But,
and usually a lot of people are not very happy when someone finishes under a minute, but at least this way we like that.
You hear that, honey?
Yep. Big approval. Round of applause without even the clap. But yeah, I don't know. You guys have anything cool that happened to you guys, I guess, this weekend?
It was my last week was my first week on the air. This is my second week on the air. We've had some good response, both from folks, business leaders and listeners. So
Yeah.
I'm just excited.
Check it out. I did link.com.
Mhm.
Hastingslink.com. There was no S, and it brings you right to the redirect central.newschannel, Nebraska.com. And I would listen to it. I got it on there, and I thought it was really cool too. It kind of tells you what was played, what's going to play. The music was awesome, and obviously hearing your voice on radio was really cool. I used to tune in occasionally there when prior endeavors, for you, and it's good to hear you back on there. I thought you did a great job, and didn't even lose a beat in those 100 and something days, man. It was good. I like
Thanks,
it.
man.
Check it out.
I appreciate it.
And yeah, it's cool. And you got sunburned as hell.
I did. My daughter had a softball tournament that we got there at like 8:30 in the morning, and I think we left at like 3:30 in the afternoon by the time it was done. And but they went undefeated. They played their little hearts out and they won. But yeah, I definitely I'm a redneck again around these parts, so I'm a little bit more accepted again. So that's
You
pretty
should have
nice.
been that dad that lined up the vehicle of yours, and as everybody was leaving, just cranking "We Are the Champions."
Oh man, I thought about it and stuff, and I always tried to embarrass my daughter as much as I can, but she played pretty well, and we even had like 3 of our cars like backed up with our trunks open just so we could have a little bit of shade. Obviously, the parents didn't get to hang out over there, but
Yeah.
and it sucks being 6'2" because every time that someone does have something that like blocks a little bit of shade, I'm always hunched over like this, and they're like, "This is comfortable." I'm like, "Yeah, this is fucking great. I'm shaded." But now I'm gonna have like scoliosis. This is awesome. So I don't know. I was a little bitch. I'm gonna buy probably several different like canopies or something in the future because I think we have 4 more tournaments.
Dude,
and I'm
know
not
what you
doing this
need?
again.
Bring them back, make them cool. The umbrella hats. Remember those things?
Yes, I have a little baby shark umbrella that we hook on this little wagon to pull off our chairs and stuff. A family of 5, it's a lot to carry all these damn chairs. You usually have to have a blanket as well. Then you have the kids' toys. It's a lot of shit. But we fashion a little umbrella over there for the little one. And he just sits there with his iPad, chills, shade. I'm like, you lucky bastard. I
Here we
need a
go.
big
This is what you need
wagon.
right here. Dude, you rock this on your head. You can get this one, a mass mall umbrella hat, elastic band. Slap that thing over any hat. $11.99 on Amazon, was $18.99. You'd have it by Wednesday if you have Prime.
I wonder if they have
It's a big one.
customized ones to where I can put her jersey number.
I mean, this one's gray. You could probably take a cricket or something like that. You guys are into the cricket scene, right? You could probably cricket her number right on there.
Dude,
and then you could start selling them, customizable umbrella hats at softball. Dude, you're gonna be rich.
I feel like my daughter's gonna kill me if I even show up within 10 feet of the field with that on.
This looks like a scene from something else. Am I right?
It does. I was
Mhm.
wondering if it was Rihanna at first. I kind of caught a glimpse. I was like, "Damn, girl, what are you doing? I thought you were a billionaire. What the hell are you doing marketing this $14.99 shit?"
Oh, this is a big one. This is $34.99.
I was thinking R. Kelly, but
That's the one that popped in my head. Yep.
Yep.
Interesting. Huh. The hairbrella. But either way, I can't wait to see you rock in an umbrella hat. 37-inch that one is. Dude, this one's a double. Look at this one. It's a double umbrella.
Wait a minute. So that is,
That's
I
a
don't know
double
about
umbrella
that.
hat.
What the fuck is the point of that?
yeah.
It's a vent. You can have the vent up or vent down, apparently. Rainproof, air cool. Look at that. She's mowing the lawn in this thing.
And she's wearing like muck boots too. Like, what the fuck is going on here? You're not supposed to mow your yard when it's raining.
No, you're not supposed to, but there we go. I think this is it. This is the one, $16.99. If we get 3 Patreon subscribers because of this umbrella, we're gonna give one away. 3 more. At 10, we'll make it an even number. At 10 Patreon subscribers, we're gonna give away an umbrella hat.
That looks like a UFO. I would just sit there and just spin around the entire time. Like, oh, there's Brandon again, fucking delirious, having a heat stroke, just spinning around in circles. Fuck.
We're gonna get an umbrella hat sponsor. I think your daughter's gonna love it. I think you think it's gonna embarrass her. I think she's gonna love it.
When she's out there in the field, they're like, "Hey, can you guys all see your parents? Where's my dad?" There's a fucking hat. There's my
Or-
dad. He showed up.
Who's that fucking giant in the outfield wearing he's wearing an umbrella on his head? Because none of those kids are gonna remember those. You know what I mean? Like I feel like we barely do. I remember those and remember those stupid spinning hats?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
those were
The only
fun.
reason I've only seen one person my entire life. Shout out to my cousin who goes by his nickname is Dick Boy because he is a dickhead. And not yet doesn't it sounds weird. Probably as soon as I said it, it kind of sounds like the Oregon thing. But he had one of those when we were younger in Florida, and that's the only person I've ever seen. And he would just sit there, and he was that kid that was like he'd tell you to fuck off. You know, they swore at a very early age. He was a wild man, and he just fucking to the point where I'm surprised my father or anybody else at that trip did not smash that or shove it in inappropriate places. But
And speaking of kids cursing at a young age too, I did have this. We always have this one family that they have a couple younger boys, and they like to hang out with my youngest. But they just kind of leave. They're like, "Hey, let them play," and then they just walk off and go a different direction. I'm like, "Hey, no, watch your kids." I always get stuck watching them. And one of these kids, I mean, I swear he's only 2, has a fucking potty mouth. He called me a bitch, and I was like, "You're not wrong, but damn," because he kept asking. He's like, "Hey man, if he asks for food, don't give him any. I've already fed him." So of course I'm over there with a soft pretzel, just having a good time. He's like, "Oh my, I had some. I was like, "No, your dad said no." I'm like pulling it away, and he's just like trying to grab. I'm like, "Kid, no." And he's like, "Bitch," and walked away. And I was like,
how old? 2?
2, like almost 3, like 2 and some change. You know what I mean? This kid still soggy ass diaper walking around the baseball field. I mean, this kid, not much, like younger than mine. Mine's 3. So I was like, the fuck? And I was looking at I was like, did a little kid just call me a bitch? And she's like, yeah, that happened. And then their other kid is like 4 or 5, dropping the F-bomb nonstop. And I'm like, and every time that the parents hear this kid scream it, he's always around my kid, and they're like, yeah. I was like, it's not mine. This kid is not my kid. No, get him the fuck away from me. So now I feel bad. My kids are getting guilty by association already. I'm like, it's a tough world we live in, boys. Tough.
I got to tell you, if a 2-year-old or 3-year-old or any other kid called me a bitch, I would definitely pull out my inner David Lee Roth, U.S. Festival or US Festival to 1983. When somebody threw water at him, he's like, hey, pal, I'm going to fuck your girlfriend. But your mom is what I would do. And definitely would be wrecking families at that point.
His mom is beastie in the politest way I can possibly say that. So,
it's an easy shot then.
It is. It's just like, I'm like, do I want to fuck this Wookiee? I mean, she has a bigger mustache than I do. 100%. I don't the noise. I was going to try it, but I don't want to fail miserably.
And it's hard too, because if they use the swear word in good context, it's hard to be mad about it. You know what I mean? But at the same point, I think we all agree, like, I don't want my kid being the kid that's out there dropping F-bombs and stuff like that. Do they do it when we're not around? Probably. Do I occasionally have a word that slips out? Is there stuff on TV that they, probably hear, or kids that, are playing video games? It's probably out there. You know what I mean? And I feel like kids just do it so they can feel cool. Maybe they're like us. Sometimes you get pissed or you stub a toe and it's not like, owie, it's fuck or shit, god damn. You know what I mean? It comes out. You're expressing an emotion. Maybe it's their way to get attention, and maybe these kids don't get a lot of attention, so they know if they walk around and call you a bitch, maybe they've learned that 2-year-old, when he says a funny word, parents laugh, they think it's funny, and he gets some food. And kids are smart when they want to be.
That's true.
I also find it interesting. There was a study done a couple of years ago, and research shows now. I hate that term. A study is shown, and research indicates that cussing or swearing after you stub a toe or hurt yourself actually helps alleviate the pain a little bit.
Oh,
yeah.
That explains why I turn into George Carlin every time I stub my toe, because I am saying every goddamn curse word in the book.
Plus, wasn't there again another research that was done a long time ago that people that swear more are actually like scientifically have higher IQs or something like that too, are actually when swearing the right way and in certain things.
Shortly here, the science shows that when people swear, it can activate the amygdala, which triggers a flight or flights response, which leads to a surge in adrenaline, a natural form of pain relief.
Huh. Interesting.
So there's your science for the Beard Laws podcast.
Science, bitch.
Educational show. Yeah.
Like,
Fuck yeah. Yeah. That's okay. Look at us go. We're pretty good.
watch
We're talking
out,
about
Bill Nye.
kids, 3-year-olds, 2-year-olds, kids swearing, and I don't know if we talked about this last week. So if we did, we'll stop. But I came across this bizarre headline of an article the other day, and I said I got to bring it up to the boys to see what they thought, because it's not a funny one. It's a pretty weird, serious one. But a Florida mom was accused and put in jail for hiring a hitman to kill her 3-year-old son.
Jesus Christ.
First of all, that should be an easy task. You know what I mean? Like, why do you need to hire somebody to do it? If you're going to do it, it's like, what do you do? Just give one swift kick. Like, what are you going to do? Like, oh, I was scared. It was nighttime. I thought it was an intruder that was 2'1".
So, 3-year-old son hired a hitman online. She was 18 years old. So got pregnant at, 14 probably, definitely 15 if you do the easy 3, but then the pregnancy and stuff. So she was either 14 or 15 years old. And apparently she went to, what the hell was the website name? It was something stupid like hireahitman.com or something like that, where the website isn't for that. It's some funny thing apparently, but it got to the point where, from what I remember, that the person that is in charge of the website actually, right here, rentahitman.com is where they went to. And they even had a safe word for the potential contracted killer, which was, are you ready for it? Put me in, coach. Put me in, coach.
Ready to play.
You know,
Yes.
I know we don't like to get serious, but since we're sharing a story,
Yeah.
it just goes to show why I waited until I was 33 or 4 to have children. But also, on top of just making sure you're ready mentally to have a child and have the finances to pay for it, sometimes it's important to teach your children, and I'm talking about the parents of this lady who tried to do this, of the scariness of and the finality of and the harshness of some of our of what we do, mistakes, or terrible decisions can lead to very harsh consequences that are unending, and you can't come back from it. If you need help, seek help.
Yeah.
If you can't take care of your child, seek help. There's help out there beyond your family. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know the situation or the details of this, but just heartbreaking to think that a mother would do that. A parent would do that to their child.
Yeah, the quote was, "The kid is the problem. I hope you see that all I ever wanted to do was to free you. I told you about the kid. You won't do anything," the affidavit said.
Yeah, so she needs mental help, and hopefully she's getting it.
Mhm.
And hopefully that child is far away from her forever, because that's awful. As somebody who lived in and out of foster care as a kid and jumped around from different places, I can definitely tell you that any positive help, whether it's your actual parents or a guardian or anything else, is better than that trash.
Yeah, and parenting's not easy, man. Like, people that are listening to this, like, in theory, is it awesome? Yeah, you want to be a dad, you want to be a mom, you want to be a parent. It's so cool. There's a lot of times that just suck. Do I love my kids? Absolutely. Do I love every minute with these kids? Fuck no. I mean, and they don't probably love every minute. And growing up, we didn't love it, but holy shit. You know what I mean? And then you start to think back, and sometimes you're just like, fuck, like I'm thankful I have, parents that stuck it out. They're together, and you come back, and it's easy as a parent to be like, wow, think of certain scenarios like, wow, that was pretty shitty what they did. But then you're like, holy fuck, like, you go to the grocery store and you're like, I can't believe how much money those fuckers spent on me. I ate a lot of food. I got a buddy who's got, they had one child, then they had natural triplets. They were going for like that one more, let's have 2 kids, 2 kids, 2. So they ended up with 4 pretty quick. And I was just chatting with him the other day after a soccer game. And he's like, what are you up to? oh, me and the wife, we got a little bit. We're going to go to this town near us. It has nice restaurants. Oh, awesome. Yeah, but, we got to go to Sam's Club first, stock up for the week, So, I mean, they're driving an hour and a half to get to a Sam's Club to buy a bunch of food, to have a couple of minutes to go to a nice dinner, to come
Yep.
home. And it's like, and the biggest thing, like I had a buddy recently too that was like, man, a newer dad, and was like, I don't think I'm doing this shit right. And I'm like, there's no right way, man. There is not a book that says, here's the right way how to be a father. Here is a ton of ways to be a shitty parent. And there's some shitty ones. And if you think in your brain, should I do this? Yeah, it's probably not a good idea. But there's no right way to be a parent. Everyone's different, and you see at these sporting events, you know what I mean? You're there. Eventually, you'll probably maybe be there. And you're just at these sporting events, and you hear these parents yelling at their kids and saying this and doing this, and the way that they're react, you know what I mean? Like some of these parents, the way they're screaming and saying stuff to their kids on the sidelines. Can you imagine how shitty it probably is at home? Like you can pick up some of the stuff that's like, well, that's not for me, but hey, there's no right way to be a parent. And I think that's important for new parents to remember. Like it sucks.
It is. It's a very exhausting task being a parent, and like I said, I'm already doing better than my dad because I was present. So I was telling my kids, they're like, "Ah, Dad, this sucks. You suck, man." I was like, but I'm still around, so you got me for a long time, ladies. But the when you were talking about like the kids or the parents yelling at the kids and stuff at the game, so like we have this one parent that used to be a coach when they were this group of girls were little, and so he's very active, and usually if there's a questionable call, like he's the first one that's like screaming at the ump, and we're like, dude, chill, like hold on, let the coach do her damn job. And he started going on this little damn tangent, and we're like, oh fuck, here he goes. And immediately the coach walks over there, and he's standing behind home plate, and she puts her hand up, and she's like, Will, shut up. He's like, but she's like, I didn't ask, and just immediately turns to the ump, and I'm like, oh, she got you.
Yeah.
And he immediately gets up, and he's huffing and puffing. She doesn't need to talk to me like I'm a damn child. And I was like, were you acting like one, Will? Were you acting like a child? Yeah, you were. And so the entire time, that was game one. He was bitched up for 4 hours. Still can't believe the coach fucking yelled at me. And I'm like, oh, you're a little bitch. She got you.
Doesn't need to talk to me like a child, but it worked.
It did. And I was like, look, who's huffing and puffing right now? The child. Yeah. It's you. But so I was wondering, have you guys ever experienced any parents going like absolutely apeshit on umps and stuff like that?
Yes, and actually, I played something in my on my radio show last week, where this guy on TikTok, I can't find it quite yet. I'll have to send it to you. Acted like he was the uncle at a baseball game, and it's something that is just hilarious, even to listen to audio wise. But I can't find it. Yeah. Anyway, doesn't matter. I haven't personally experienced that besides choke up on the bat, Billy. Keep your eye on the ball, stuff like that. But that's the normal stuff.
Yeah.
I've been a part of games like that where you see coaches who are kind of hard on the players. It's like, oh, I don't know if this coach is one of the parents or something, but man, I would not want to play for that guy, even as a 35-year-old man,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been, obviously, I played sports, and I've been coaching since 2004. I've seen some shit. The one that stands out with me, and this is a person that I grew up with, used to be really, really close with, his parent, without getting into too many details in case they are listening, at the time was a severe alcoholic, like rough. And the father went ballistic, like was in the stands yelling. And at this time, we are probably sixth graders. You know what I mean? So it's, youth baseball. And to the point where, and at this point, usually the umps are high school kids, modified, maybe JV. So there's between 7th and 9th grade kids, jumped the fence to scream a little bit more, to the point where like the coaches, the commissioner, and everything like had to get this guy, restrain him, and get him out of there. And that was the worst. And thankfully nothing really escalated, but this guy leaving, and then towards the end things worked out much better between him and the father. But that was a rough one. But yeah, parents are fucking nuts, and I think they need to realize that it's about the kids. It's not about you or how you used to coach or how you used to play. It's about these kids having a fucking good time and making some memories, because you guys either were athletes, played sports, had friends that played sports. Like, you don't know and you don't really care unless something crazy happened in youth sports. You know what I mean? You might remember the time you scored a touchdown, or maybe you hit a home run. You don't remember the time that you went 10-7. You don't remember the time you went 1. You don't remember that shit. You'll remember the time that Jim Bob ripped a fart in the dugout that was so loud that he actually shit his pants a little bit and had, like, that is what it is. And it teaches you more than just sports. You learn not to be an asshole. You learn to work as a team. You learn to more or less take orders and listen to somebody as a coach or a boss or something. Like, there's more to sports than people think about fucking winning. You know what I mean?
Well, I realized too that I become kind of like a team mom. Like I don't really help out with like a lot of the coaching or anything like that, but I'm like, hey guys, in between breaks, I'm like, I got a cooler ready, I got snacks for you. I've got little games for them to keep them occupied, whatever, because sometimes they're waiting 3 hours in between games in the sun. So I always have everything ready.
Yeah.
And so every time they're always like, hey, thanks to Brain's dad for bringing all this stuff. I'm like, I got you. I don't know anything else, but I know snacks, and I got you, girls.
The worst for me is, and then we're gonna play a video that Brandon just sent over that goes exactly with this conversation, is the dance life. You know what I mean? Like, my daughters, they dance. So you drop them off, you wait in the parking lot for 30 to 60 minutes, and they come out. How was it? It was good. What'd you do? Oh, we danced, working on our dance, and then they dance for several months, and you spend all of this time sitting in the vehicle, aimlessly scrolling on social medias and whatever else, trying to hustle to watch a performance. Great when you're at the performance, but at least when you're soccer, softball, and stuff, you're watching the games, and there's more. They get one chance. It's kind of like I don't know any other sports that's like that, I guess.
Yeah, no, that dance life it's a struggle, and that's like you said, you don't get to witness it, you don't get to see it. You get to see the practicing at home and everything. You're like, that looks awkward, whatever. But and then they go to the recital, and that's all they think about is just like how their makeup's going to be, how their outfits are matched up, and everything. And I'm standing there going, anything I can do to help? Like, what do you want me to do? I don't know what we're doing here. And oh, you forgot your tap shoes? I'll run home and go get them. That I can help with. Dance recital life sucks.
It does, but you're so proud of them. You know what I mean? At the same point, but probably not proud of this guy. You want to play that video, Brandon?
It's funny.
Let's do the thing. Let's go full screen. Here we go.
Hey, the game's still going on? What inning is it? 5th inning? I'm early. So is Keith playing, or Kevin? What the hell did his name? Kind of dumb. Where's he at on the field there? On there, Kevster. Fuck, freaking kill him. Sorry. I'm such a proud uncle. I would support the damn shit out of that little guy. There's no smoking. I'll put it out between puffs. Come on, Devin. Where you guys keep the participation trophies for these little scamps? Surprised you even keep a score anymore. Whoa! We got kids smacking each other's butts out there. You guys seeing this? It really is starting in school. Just let me light this. Eyes on the ball. Coach, can I come out there and show them a little? No? Okay. Is there a sports book around here? You think they got any Everclear at the concession stands? I got my own mixer. I can beat up that coach. Looks like a real pushover. Hey, the kid on the other team, or do we not respect free speech around here? Hey, Kevin, just use your cleats. Blue, time, blue. Can I light this real quick? Suppose you don't want me concealed carrying right now either. It's not. It's in my car. It's in my car. Shut up. Yeah, Kenny, rev them. They lock up the field after these games, or they allow members of the community to run around the bases, see if they still got it. You guys mind if I go take a couple very loud speakerphone work calls right beside the dugout? Yep. No, Jeff, I can hear you. Is this over yet? Oh shit! Is the other team putting in a new pitcher? Is it that Dominican kid? Well, we're fucked.
They had a much cleaner radio version I played on the air.
Well, and the obnoxious loud phone calls behind the dugout that every fucking team does that. Usually, not to be said, usually it's a lady on our side that's always on her phone, just like, oh yeah, wait, darling, you won't believe what happened. Like, nobody gives a fuck. Okay, Connie, take your shit and go to the concession stand. Get the fuck away from here. Nobody can hear a goddamn thing.
Go to your vehicle.
Yeah.
Right. That video is from Gus Johnson. So if you guys want to follow him, that was on the Gus Johnson YouTube.
Is he a part of You Betcha?
I don't know.
I've seen him before. He just looks familiar.
Sweet hat though, that Miller High Life hat. Decent hat. It was a Genesee hat. I fucking love it.
You know what we've seen over the past, everybody points to 2016, but I'll go further than that. A while back, is people lack a lot of empathy. But beyond that, people lack a lot of caring about how their actions are impacting other people in public. And this is a great topic of that, a great touch on that, because I mean, talking loud at a baseball game, I would never do that. It's like I would never even pull into my neighbor's driveway to reverse. I'll go around the block, because I'm so worried about being offensive or, offending somebody else's space. So much less talking loud. Like who do these people think they are? I just don't get it. I don't get it.
And same thing, like you were talking about pulling out of someone's, driveway, backing up into the yard. I'm the exact same way. I'm super anxious about like not trying to offend anybody. I say I'm sorry in a public setting probably 40 times. Some of those guys are like, dude, quit saying sorry. I'm like, did I just bump into you? Sorry, dude, my bad. They're like, quit saying sorry, dude. Just bump into me. Who gives a fuck? And I'm like, not me, because I don't want to leave thinking like, oh, this guy sucks. I'm like, I don't. I apologize. Damn it. I realize my mistake.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, we have that little thing in our brain, and I think that we might not have a lot of other things in there, but it's the same thing. And I notice it more when we go to places not to be stereotypical by any means, but I feel like they're from cities, you know what I mean? Like busier places of life. Like we'll go to places and just the rudeness of cutting into lines and, just being on the phone and just not giving a shit. They'll cut right in front of you to take a picture. And it's just, you go to these places and it's just like, what the fuck? Like, I know I'm from small town, this and that, but I mean, you should still have some kind of fucking common sense and a little courtesy for others. But let's blame COVID or something, huh?
Right. And that's how it is. Like anytime I go to the zoo, amusement park, or something like that, I hate it just because, like, if we're around a whole bunch of people, I know that they're gonna bump into me, get into my personal. I have a huge bubble. I don't like when people are even talking close to me. I don't know if that stems from COVID or what, but I just don't like people being so fucking close to me. So I always like take a half a step back and kind of tap my toe a little bit, and they get closer. So now people at work realize that I have that bubble. So they constantly like, hey, Brandon, how's it going? I'm like, dude, get the fuck away from me. I was like, I don't like this shit. And they're like, how was your weekend? Was everything nice? Are you having a good day? I'm like, dude, if you don't fucking get out of my goddamn bubble, can't stand it. So if even a concert too, they're like, hey, it's standing room. And I'm like, oh, is it?
Now how you,
I'm like, I
how
like
you
to be
fix
close
it?
to the stage. How's that fart?
Yep. You have the bubble guts to cure the bubble break-ins. So when they're too close to that, how many people are going to hang out next to you super close if you're just giving little rips all the time? All right. Oh, you want to come hang out? Huh?
Well, and I feel like too that anytime that you go into like a big public thing like that too, there's always somebody who doesn't have the greatest hygiene, because deodorant probably isn't a belief system where they're from or whatever. Because every time I'm like, someone's cooking fajitas, like there's something I smell onions. I'm like, is it? No, it ain't me. I was like, damn, what is this? So constantly, and they're like, put your hands up in the air, yeah. And I'm like, keep them down, keep them down. No, thank you.
I went to a gas station 3 weeks ago. It was 105 degrees outside.
Ugh.
And I'm standing in line, and because the person in line in front of me is far enough away, people are walking in front of me as they enter the store, because I'm giving them space to, because obviously,
Yeah.
and they'd have to walk behind a whole aisle and go around. It doesn't make sense. I'm being respectful of my surroundings in public. And this guy walks in and walks past me, and I said, oh my God. I go, man, we need to take you outside and hose you off. I wanted to say, why can I smell the inside of your asshole? Like, honestly, it's like it smelled like stale farts and nut cheese. And it's like, how do you go into public like that when it's 105 degrees, no less?
Right.
I don't know. I'm fucking 350 pounds. I shower every single day because I'm worried about smelling.
Yeah,
Let me ask you, are they a smoker?
I didn't know if they were or not. I couldn't smell cigarette smoke. It was everything else.
Well, I'm just curious, if they're a heavy smoker, maybe they're just like, fuck it. This BO smells better than that goddamn smoke. But probably smell is nasty as a bog. And this is a rough segue, so I do apologize for anybody listening. But did you know that there is a bog snorkeling championship in Britain? Yeah,
What?
I didn't know this, but I found this on the internet because my algorithm in the world apparently is pretty weird. And this comes out of London from AP News. And the headline says the intrepid athletes donned snorkels and slithered through slime on Sunday during one of Britain's quirkiest sporting events, the World Bog Snorkeling Championship. and it happens in Wales. Competitors race to complete 2 lengths of a 60-yard water-filled trench cut through a peat bog. They can use flippers on their feet, but conventional swimming strokes are banned.
You lost me at strokes.
And
I figured
banned.
I did. They have snorkels, masks, flippers, and a flamboyant touch. One carried a giant plastic toad on their head. Another had a bathing cap adorned with flowers. Spectators also get in on the fun, wearing cardboard boxes proclaiming them to be limited edition bog snorkeling Barbie and Ken. So the world record holder, Neil Rudder, who won in 1 minute 18 seconds in 2018. They go through this trench and see who can get through it the fastest.
Jesus Christ.
I mean,
I'd do it. Fuck it.
yeah, I'm right. It's a 2 consecutive lengths of 60-yard water-filled trench cut through a bog in the shortest time possible. The Rude Health World Bog Snorkeling Championship. I'm saying bog right? Not like Oregon.
No, I think
Bog?
so.
Okay.
I guess whenever you said bog originally, I was thinking like pogs, and I was like, wait, what the fuck is a bog? I was so confused. You kept saying it, and I was like, I don't remember what the fuck a bog is. Apparently,
Is it bog or is it bog?
That I don't know.
It's like a buddy of mine who says the word bag. He says bag.
Oh,
Like he's from Boston. Bag.
big.
There's no Y in bag.
well, even like people from Minnesota, they have kind of like that with their G at the end. It's very similar to the whole Boston thing, because I have a girl that we work with that's from there, and she says it very similar. I'm like, what the fuck are you saying right now? I was like, is Mark Wahlberg in here? Who the fuck is talking?
Bag.
Yeah, I just thought that was wild. And I was waiting the whole time for somebody to say something about dirty, because there's a lot of things I want to do in life. I don't think going down consecutive 60-meter, that's what, 180 feet, so 360 feet of dirty, nasty water is high on my to-do list. But yeah.
If it was like a once a quarter thing, or if it was like a fundraiser, I'd be down.
Yeah, you know what? This is what we do. We start doing fundraisers for youth softball, and you have your own I mean, just like we mentioned earlier, the world record was 1 minute and 18 seconds. I feel like that's pretty good, for us potentially in different activities. But hey, I mean, if you can be an athlete for 1 minute and 30 seconds and raise some money, fuck yeah. But maybe if we have enough Patreon subscribers, with the 3 of us, we'll go over to Wales next year and compete in the 36th annual bog snorkeling whatever bog championship, and we'll do side bets on who, in legal states of course, of who can get through those trenches the fastest. Can't use conventional swimming strokes, but early favorite because of all of this stroke experience. I feel like Euban could potentially be there with the size, 6'2", and just a guy that his username is whacking off, is good at stroking.
The only thing is though, I got this big old dick weighing me down. Is the only thing I got to McDermott, he's just waiting. He's like, I thought it was gonna be something serious. I should have known better.
I knew where this was going. But I meant to slide this one in here. No pun intended or dirty segue there. But Brandon, being a guy from Nebraska, there was a news article of some shit that happened in Nebraska, and I have to imagine you saw this.
If it's the story I'm thinking about, I believe my company broke the story. But
was it about a animal in a vehicle?
Yep, they broke the story. It was a buddy of mine who wrote the story. Who
tell us about it then, if you're allowed to. You're allowed to talk about it, right?
Of course. There was a gentleman up in northeast Nebraska near Norfolk.
I know what you're talking about. Sorry. Yep.
And it wasn't in Norfolk proper, which is actually a mid-sized town in Nebraska, probably about 20,000 or so people. It was a much smaller town, but he was headed to town, and he was in a 4-door sedan, and he had the top off of the car, and half of it was open, so he could have a bull standing in the vehicle. Had him chained and everything else, and if you see pictures of this, there's just shit all over the back of the there he is. So he didn't get ticketed, but he got warnings because it was so silly. And his name was Howdy Doody.
Yep.
The bull's name was Howdy Doody. And I can't remember the exact. I'm not a a rancher by any means, but I can't remember the exact breed of bull that is. But
That's
he was riding him into town.
That's a big bull. Like, holy shit.
And I love that they just have this gate right here. Like, this is a gate that you would see on a farmer fence. Like, he's got that in there. This little teeny tiny rope hole. But my favorite part is the license plate of this guy is boy and dog. That's his license plate. Maybe he hits up a local SPCA or whatever the branch for pets is in Nebraska and gets a dog.
By the way, you see how that vehicle's leaning a little bit, that suspension? That's how my mother-in-law sits in vehicles. It was like What's Eating Gilbert Grape. You remember when she gets in the car and she's like,
Is there as much shit in the back too after it's
yeah,
done?
so let me try to find a better picture of it.
That was the picture that I saw originally, was just the amount of shit that was over the trunk and the taillights.
Yeah, that was the
oh.
video intro. Let me scroll down and right here.
You got it.
Ugh.
Yeah, you can see a little bit of it there in the back.
Best car entry. Did he won it? Was this for a parade? This appears to be.
I think the gentleman used the vehicle in a parade, but it wasn't actually. He wasn't taking him to a parade.
Gotcha. Yeah, because it says the car that Meyer has been driving in
here we go.
parades across the area.
Here we go. I want to show you guys this. I'll send it to you in the private chat. Scroll down a little bit to where you can see about halfway. You can see a better shot of the car itself.
All right, let's do that.
I like how even the link said "Howdy Doody" on it.
Howdy Doody. And again, breaking the story. Make sure you guys check out Hastings Link.
I think Nebraska's big rodeo parade, I believe that's in Burwell. They call it the Burwell Ball, which is in the middle of nowhere. But rodeos are huge here. So scroll down a little bit. A little bit. There you go.
That's the one I saw.
Yeah. There you go.
God.
I mean, you know what's happening. You know you can't stop a bull or an animal from shitting or pissing. But
I feel like there should be a better trough system to navigate that, maybe in a better way,
how'd you like to change that wheel?
That would be the tire that would go flat 100%. If you're driving somewhere, that's the tire that's going to go flat first.
But let's go with the obvious here. All right, so at least the ship protection is mostly there. But if that bull's pissing, that's going right in that car. That guy is getting covered in bull piss.
That's terrible. Like, I mean, when do you install a windshield wiper in the back? Like, does it restrict any view at all? Like,
do you think he's wearing like a rain jacket or something for the piss protection?
Maybe an umbrella hat.
Do you think insurance covers this? Is this an old cop car?
I don't know.
I mean, the only reason I'm saying it has 911 on the back.
Oh, it does.
It gives very, old school cop car vibes.
Just a bullshit cop car.
There it is. I'm surprised it took that long to say bullshit.
And
not my best day.
It's always a fucking story like that gets shared all the way around the world. The reporter who covered it for us did a great job. First of all, he was interviewed by the BBC.
Really?
Yeah.
Whose?
The
BBC. But just in case anybody who does know is hearing this and whatever, that last story from mototrend.com. If you're worried about Howdy Doody safety, Meyer says he does own a large trailer whenever he wants to take his pet steer to places that are more than 40 miles away. It's a Crown Victoria. Is just for short trips, parades, and the occasional trip to the gas station where Meyer likes to buy ice cream for Howdy Doody. They don't exceed ever 35 miles an hour. Not one time has he in 7 years made an attempt to jump out or kick or struggle in any way.
Yet. There's always a time.
I feel like we've all seen the show where those crazy bastards that would live with bears. How'd that work out for them? Unfortunately, there's people that are on nature shows that end up in wrong places at wrong times. Rest in peace, Steve Irwin, for example. I mean,
oh man, dude, his son's videos pop up every once in a while, and he had like a very good montage of Steve Irwin talking about hey, my kids just continued my path or whatever. That would make me the happiest person in the world. And you're like, I'm not crying on this Wednesday. Fuck you, Steve Irwin, you piece of shit.
Just a lovable guy that just stupid. They're wild animals for a reason. That's why this guy shouldn't probably. I guarantee. Well, you know what? I know he's not a celebrity, but can you put this guy in your death pool? Like, is that legit? I feel like something bad is going to happen to this guy. He jinxed it. He's like, never in 7 years.
You know, but is how big of a celebrity is he? Like, what's on this celebrity? Are we doing A-listers?
No, he's not A-lister.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, which is Bob
I
Barker?
put him above the what are those twins, the Island Boys
Oh my
or whatever. I put him
God.
above them. I mean, they're already probably bankrupt and out of the scene, aren't they? At this point,
dude. So randomly, so I never, obviously follow
randomly. Okay,
randomly a video of theirs would pop up, almost like a TMZ type of thing, or like a third party or whoever's there will display some videos of them fighting in a mansion or something like that. I want to say it was like a month or two ago. Did you see where apparently they hopped on the old OF again, and the brothers were making out?
I heard that. I didn't see that. I heard it
So
on a different show.
I mean, yeah. So it was disgusting. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with them? They are indeed brothers, correct?
As far as I know, I've never, seen the 3andMe or whatever test results, but I mean, at what point in your life do you maybe consider just getting an actual job? I mean, there's no chance in hell that I'm going to kiss my brother for money, ever.
You know who else was an island boy? Jimmy Buffett, R.I.P. baby.
R.I.P. Jimmy Buffett. Yep. Yep. I mean, we're that show that keeps up to date with celebrity deaths. There was a couple more, I believe, in the last little bit. Gary Wright passed away. Best known for his hit song "Love Is Alive" and "Dreamweaver."
Oh, okay, no Dreamweaver. Yeah.
Yep. He passed away on the 4th of September. Was 80 years old, and also Steve Harwell, 56. He was a member of Smash Mouth.
Yeah, that sucked. Yeah.
Yep.
That one,
he was also a rapper with what was it? Freedom of Speech. I don't know if you knew that, but if not, check it out. But yeah, he passed away at 56.
And you mentioning some acronyms there, it kind of brings me back to whenever we had mentioned BBC. Are there any other like acronyms that kind of get to you guys every once in a while when someone says, because like it may mean something different to them, but you're like, what did you just say?
BBC is the one that gets me every single time.
Every time I see someone share something like that, like with the British Broadcasting Channel, and I'm like, that's a big black one, that's what that is. That has nothing to do with British.
I lived in a county that decided to call themselves one of the departments, the Crawford County Chamber and Development, and they shortened it to CDC, which was a terrible decision after the pandemic. But it is what it is.
The reviews probably went down to 1 star.
This isn't an acronym by any means, but when I worked at a certain place, they had codes for, at least in the computer department, like they had purchasing codes, like so IT could be 1, 2, 3, you know what I mean? And then this other one purchasing code might be 4, 5, 6. I thought it was hilarious. Pharmacies was 420.
Nice.
Coincidence?
Yeah.
I think not. But
we have this First Bank Grand Mutual that so it's FBGM, and I'm like, that's fuck bitches get money, 100%. That's always what that's going to be. So whenever I see their acronym, I'm like, fuck bitches get money, and I'm like, and it's a bank, so I'm like, it makes sense.
Yeah, this has nothing to do. But the other day, I'm doing a podcast, which we're going to release it, but I'm not going to overly market it with my kids, and we sit down like this. We just kind of talk, and it's just kind of funny to hear different perspectives from kids. You know what I mean? So the other day we were sitting there talking, and one of them was talking about a bark or did a bark or something. So I was like, "You guys ever heard of DMX?" And they're like, "No." I was like, "DMX was a rapper, was big into barking." And I pulled up a song and just read like a little bit of the lyrics from one of the songs, and I was like, "What do you think about that?" And they're like, "That's so weird. Who would listen to music like that?" And of course, I had to clean it up quite a bit, but I'm just going there, and I'm just like, "That's weird. You listen to that music?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
I introduced my kids to Little John and explained to them like we had certain catchphrases, and I was like like Little John with what, and they're like, huh? And I was like, no, not huh. What? And they're like, no. Like, so that guy was that's what his phrase was. And I was like, yes. And you knew it was him every time he said it. And they're like, explain. So I'm just showing them like East Side Boys, the little Yin Yang Twins and stuff. And they're like, this music's weird but catchy. And I'm like, you bet your ass it is. You bet your ass.
It would have been classic if at some point they were just like, okay.
They get so mad though, because I always do like the yin yang twins, like ha, like I was getting right in their ear. So like they're sitting there eating cereal. I'm like ha, and they're like, Dad, fucking stop. I'm like, now we're on this yin yang twins kick. I can't stop listening to it.
I've been down this path for whatever reason. Again, the algorithms are throwing it to me where it's all this like 90s stuff. And I started to start to just randomly posting some memes. I can never be the meme king like Brandon J. McDermott with the food and everything. It's just spot on. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out obviously the Instagram, definitely the Facebook pages. Check it out. But so I'm going to start throwing this just random 90s memes, and some people are starting to send them a little bit. And there was one the other day that got me, was the Tamagotchi. Right? And it was like, you couldn't keep a Tamagotchi alive, and now that you're an adult, it shows.
No shit.
And I'm like, shit, I'm betting some of these parents that are having a tough time and not doing some great shit probably couldn't keep that Tamagotchi alive. And just all of the stuff that was cool to us is just like, it almost seems a little far-fetched, but at the end of the day, I still think some of that shit's pretty cool. Like, I'm still gonna rock. Like, there was one that was like a Charlotte starter jacket, and it's like, if
Oh,
you
yeah.
had one of these, like, I mean, like you were royalty or something like that. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I could never afford the Charlotte one, but did I have a Bulls one? Fucking right. Did I randomly just find a Steelers one and have and rock now? You're goddamn right.
It had the best zipper, like the logo that they had on it. It just
Yeah.
you can hold it easily. It always zipped. It was like flawless. But I did have the Charlotte one. I had that one, and then I had a Bulls one as well, because everything was Bulls related back then. So you know it was pretty easy to find. But
The
yeah,
Simpsons probably predicted that the Bulls and Charlotte were going to be the best starter jackets. And then how ironic that Jordan bought the Charlotte basketball team from the Bulls to there. I mean, fucking
I
Simpsons.
think he just sold it again too. I think
He
he's back out. Yeah.
Yeah, back out. But hey, good for him. He did all right. They were saying the investment was a couple $100 million or forget it, and then he sold it for billions.
Yeah. That dude is not going to have to worry about money ever for a very long. Just a shoe deal alone is just crazy.
Yeah, I mean and what's cool too is everything kind of cycles. So back to the 90s, like you're seeing, of course, everybody and their brother did up here at least the first day school pictures. Everybody had to post their fucking first day. Like, cool, you're proud. There's probably family not around to get it, but the amount of just random ones that I saw with like retro Nikes, retro Jordans on these kids, and I'm like, fuck yeah.
Bring it back. Like
And my buddy was like, when did I miss that athletic socks and sandals are a fad now? Like, a lot of kids are wearing that, I guess. I mean, back in the day, if you were wearing socks and sandals, you were probably getting shoved in a locker, you were getting a wedgie or a swirly. Like, you didn't do in bright colors when I was in school. Like, you didn't wear bright colors.
See, we usually like you didn't wear long socks with shorts. Hardly ever. You wore the no shows or whatever. That was always kind of like the unspoken rule back then. And so now kids are just wearing thigh-high socks with slides. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I always try to tell my kid, I'm like, hey man, don't dress like that. Like all my friends do. And I was like, do they? I'm like, is this the thing now? I was like, I'm trying to like save you from, some like, getting bullied or something like that. But I'm like, if that's how they dress, I go ahead.
Yep.
Fit in.
I was in that store and I felt so proud. I successfully was like, that shirt's sick. That one's sick. And the oldest was like, wow, I really like that. Oh, wow, I really like that one too. I successfully picked out a handful of stuff, and I was like, that's a fucking proud bad moment. And it was the first time ever I went to a mall. It didn't get a soft pretzel from, what is it, Auntie Anne's?
Oh, the pepperoni one, dude, is so good.
Soft pretzels are like, I'm addicted to them, and freeze pops, which that's a topic for a different. The line was like 40. There was at least 20 people, and I was not going to wait. That crew didn't appear to be keeping up with that, and I was not about to wait 35, 40 minutes for a goddamn pretzel.
And you don't want a little 2-year-old coming over and calling you a bitch because he wouldn't share. So
that is true. So on that note, we'll go ahead and say our goodbyes. I looked at the clock, and that seems to be a wrap. So on the day of the recording, Sunday, we're going to go enjoy some football, but we can't thank you guys enough for listening to us, whether it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Monday, or maybe it's 4 months from now and you're finally listening to us for the first time. We appreciate it. Go follow You've Been Whacking Off on all the socials, links in the description, although I think that's going away on the YouTube. I think pretty soon you're not going to be able to put links in descriptions. They're trying to get away from that for all the spam that has been going around. So if you're listening to this and there's no more links in the description, apologize. And maybe the username has changed. But either way, Brandon J. McDermott, that name's not changing. Check it out. And if you want to listen to him live, Again, hastingslink.com. And I can't thank you guys enough. Thanks to everybody from the Patreon, the YouTube members, but most important, thank you guys for taking some time out of your week. This is fun. I enjoy it. That's all I got. You guys got anything else?
No softball today. I'm happy.
Hell yeah. All right. Take care, everybody, or don't. I'm not the boss of you. Smell you later.